What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Andrew Thompson Interviews YouTube channel. With me today is an individual that has garnered quite a great deal of buzz for himself. You've seen his clips all over social media. You've seen his matches all over social media. You've seen his gifts all over social media. And probably one of the coolest things about it all is that he is not even 21 years of age and has garnered this quite a following for himself, man, quite the buzz for himself. This is the one and only Leon Slater. Leon, welcome to the channel, man. I appreciate you taking the time to come do this.
Yes, sir, man. Glad to be here. Happy to be here. Let's go. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I'm excited to talk to you, man. But like I said, you have gone to like a great deal of attention for yourself, positive attention at that. Like, have you, especially over the recent months, early summer and like especially now, it's like just kicked into overdrive. Like, have you really had a chance to like reflect on what you've been able to accomplish, or have things just been moving so fast that you really haven't had the time to like really sit down and like think about all the success all the recent success that you have had?
You know, the craziest thing about it is, bro, like you said, it has been moving real fast. Like since about March time, it just been up and up and up and like leveling up constantly. And the only time it's really hit me so far was after my match with Speedball Mike Bailey in York Hall at Rev Pro's 10th anniversary weekend. And like I got a standing ovation after the match, one of the best matches of my life, if not the best match of my life. And there's a video out there somewhere. It's not on a video on demand, unfortunately, but like on social media, you'll be able to find it for sure. Like I'm on my knees after the match and everyone's shouting, Leon Slater, bow, 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 bow. And I just, bro, I put my head in my hands and I just start sobbing because that's the only time that it's really hit me. Like I've been training my whole life for this shit. I've been training since I was 10 years old for this. And here I am, one of the biggest promotions in the UK against one of the best in the world, getting a standing ovation. So yeah, that's the only time it's really like hit me of what I'm doing. But I definitely realized the fortunate position that I'm in at the moment for sure.
That you mentioned you have been going at it since basically a kid, man. Like I had took a look at one of your social medias and I had saw a post that dates back to like I want to say 2016. So essentially at the age of 17 years old, bro, you are like a 5 to 6 year vet, which is fucking crazy. Yeah. Like, so by the time you hit like 20, bro, you like that whole like young kid thing that really doesn't apply to you when you talk about like veteran shit. Cause like by the time you hit your 20s, bro, you really could be like 9 years, 8 years in the game, which is
exactly. I want to be like a decade barely.
That's correct. So like talk to me about like those early days, man, those earlier days and sort of that progression along the way that led you to becoming the wrestler that you are now.
So like I've always had the passion for wrestling. Obviously, like I can't remember a time in my life where like wrestling hasn't been a thing, if you know what I mean. Like I've always been interested in it. So as soon I was like, I wasn't even of age in my opinion when I started training. Like there's pros and cons to starting as early as I did. But I was fortunate enough to find a place that would let a 10-year-old get down and start training.
Hey, Leon, not to cut you off, but like, just to add into your point, like does it like have you noticed like because I hear this a lot when people talk about like training early, like because your body is growing as well. So like I'm talking about like when you hitting the mat and stuff, like that's just over time, like your bone structure and all that stuff start to change. Like what was that also like a factor that you have noticed like now opposed to like when you started then?
I think so, yeah. Like I think I'm a lot I wake up a lot sorer than the average 17-year-old wakes up. Like my back is a lot creakier than the average 17-year-olds for sure. But at the same time, I think it benefited me because like I'm quite a tall guy. Like I'm pretty well built for a 17-year-old, I like to think. So once again, it has its pros and its cons. But like going back to the original question, like the early days, it was a lot of just messing about really in the early days. Like I was just so what's the word for it, overwhelmed, and just like I'd been watching wrestling all my life. I'd been playing the games, I'd been playing with the action figures, and then when I finally got the chance to get in a ring, I just wanted to bounce off the ropes and top rope stuff and stuff like that. So it wasn't until I was about excuse me until I was about 12 13 maybe that I'd say I actually began like seriously training, like seriously like honing the basics, and then like actually learning how to wrestle. But yeah, man, it's definitely had an effect on my body in positive and negative ways, like I was just saying.
Yeah, and like I think I mentioned it earlier, like one of the cool things about you achieving all the success so early, man, is that you as a Black man are doing it as well, especially in a like there have been I would say some underrated like prominent Black wrestlers that have came from the UK, but like not really that much that I'm aware of personally. Like outside of like maybe I think I had saw somebody that said I hope I'm not mistaken when I say this, but I heard somebody say that Norman Smiley's from the UK. I think he is, or he from
Maybe
somewhere.
so. Maybe
Maybe
so.
I think so. Like I hope I'm not wrong. If I am wrong, please correct me on that. But like I think it's really cool for you to be able to, as a black man at the young age of 17, man, to be able to achieve what you are achieving. Is it cool for you to sort of know that you could have an influence on somebody younger than you, and also somebody that's older than you to maybe one day pursue professional wrestling if they choose to? Is it sort of cool to know that you could possibly have that effect on somebody?
100%, man. Like when I was coming up, there wasn't too many black wrestlers at all. Like the only person that really stands out to me is Michael Oku, aka the OJMR, who also works for RevPro. But he was the only person I really looked up to as like a black wrestler on the scene. And to be in the position that I am now, like doing the things that I am, like you said, as like a young black man, especially in England when there isn't a lot of like young black guys coming after it. Yeah, it's a real cool position to be in. And I don't think I'm at a point where I realize the influence that I'm maybe having yet, but maybe that's the thing for a few years down the line where we see more young black wrestlers coming up on the scene, and maybe I'll have a part to play in that.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Like I had talked to, I had interviewed Michael Oku a couple times, and I remember the last time I interviewed him, we had did one in person over at WrestleMania weekend, and like that was one of the conversations we had off camera about like sort of that representation growing versus like when I first talked to him the first time. I think it's real cool, man, to see sort of that representation amongst like black talents grow, and of course diversity as a whole, like which includes more women and stuff and like that, and people of different sexualities and different races and stuff like that. That's encompasses diversity as a whole. But like specifically speaking on just seeing more black people in wrestling, I think that's real cool. And I feel like I feel like especially now we're seeing it, like it's such a untapped market that's like, and there's like so many, like it's like it's not like a joke, but like it's more thing. Like one thing I notice, I always say, like black people love pro wrestling, like whether it's like the perfect like drama for us. Like we love like I feel like there's so many people that are sort of tuned out of it that could easily be brought back in by simply like, and it's not the first time like somebody said, like people say this all the time, but like by just seeing somebody to look like them, like in a ring or on TV or at an independent show, like that changes everything. And I do think things are getting way better. Like I don't think it's like stagnant. It's definitely getting way better.
Like for example, even I was watching earlier today, like Swerve in Our Glory, like Swerve and Keith Lee versus Claimed, like that's four black men in the ring right there competing for one of the biggest belts in one of the biggest companies in the world. And like
we're two black hip hop artists coming out too.
I think it's at a point now where it's like you don't even really see the color anymore. Like it wasn't a big thing going into that match. It's like, oh my God, 4 black people in this match competing for these belts. It was just like, these are 4 world-class competitors. And I'm happy it's coming to a point where it's like that now, where we're not just looked at as black wrestlers, but we're looked at as just wrestlers that happen to have black skin, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying for real. And speaking of black tag team champions, man, I know you and Reese had just won the tag titles for a promotion. I think it's called the North Wrestling. Up in Newcastle upon Tyne. I think y'all got a title defense on October 15th, if I'm not mistaken. Talk to me about like the communication and the sort of chemistry between you and Reese as things sort of progressing. You guys as a partnership doing this tag title reign, also knowing that you will forever be North Wrestling's first ever tag team champions.
Yeah, man. So me and Reese, we were never even meant to be a tag team. It was meant to be Reese and this other wrestler called Visage, but unfortunately, Visage had some troubles like leading up to the show week, and they had to pull out, unfortunately. And the promoter Bowers was scouring around for people, and a couple names were thrown in the hat, and then my name got thrown in the hat, and I was the one that ended up being picked. And then like, when we got in there, our energy just clicked, man, and we matched, and we had that kind of instant chemistry, and we moved in sync. It was real good, man. And then ever since that, we've just been on a roll and a roll and a roll. So it's like the belts were decided in the tournament, and I debuted in the first round, and then in the second round we got even stronger as a team. In the third round we got even stronger as a team. We finally won the belts, and I think it was a very organic thing that happened, and I think that's why it took off as much as it did, because the crowd could see that and you could feel that it was a real organic thing, and it wasn't let's put these 2 black guys together because they're both black. It happened to be that we're both black guys and we have the same wicked energy and we're both wicked wrestlers. So yeah, man, that's a real fun thing, and I'm really excited for this next defense against TK Mambo Sunshine Machine on the 15th. It's gonna be a fun one, that one.
Did you and Reese like have like a familiarity with one another prior to that, or was that like y'all first time like tagging with each other?
So obviously I'd known about Reese because he's killing the scene. He still is killing the scene. He's like one of our top guys, I'd say for sure. He was up and down the country way before I was. But I think he'd heard like little murmurs of my name, because the way wrestling works is like everyone's very, very supportive, and sometimes it's over supportive, like especially in this country. Everyone's like, this guy should be everywhere. Put this guy on all your shows. And sometimes they really shouldn't be on all the shows. And I was on kind of that vibe, and Reese had heard of me on kind of that vibe. And then so I think he was a bit unsure about me at first, but once we got in that ring, and like I said, the chemistry clicked, and that he knew it was up. And then that's when the tag team was born.
And so to stand on the topic of you and Reese, man, like of course y'all being tag team champions, but I know y'all got a match for the Wrestle Carnival title in January 2023. Like especially as an independent wrestler, I know it can be difficult to sort of break down the story and tell a story when the shows aren't like really consistent in terms of like month to month or bi-weekly. But do you think it'll help you and DeVries come January that y'all will have that sort of background as North Wrestling Tag Team Champions, and it'll sort of enhance you guys match opposed to, hey, these are two great wrestlers, two good wrestlers, like, and they're going to go wrestle, like, but now y'all have like a legitimate backstory to go along with the upcoming match?
Of course, and like you said, the backstory just adds to it even more. And people already know that we're established, and people know that we know each other. So when you're in there against your tag partner, against your brother, it's a different energy. It brings a different competitive side out of both of us, I think. So that is definitely going to be a super fight, as we call it. That's what I'm real looking forward to. That's going to be wicked.
Yeah, saying you had mentioned earlier the match with Speedball Mike Bailey at the Rare Pro 10th anniversary show. I think that's actually up on the Rare Pro demand service. I think you gotta battle whole show to see it. That was my first time seeing you, like my first full length match of seeing yours, because I remember I told you I had seen like clips and stuff that you on social media prior to that, and the Mike Bailey match is the first one I seen like full length. Like, do you feel like, especially with the Your Call crowd and stuff like that, do you feel like that was the match where, or that was a match where you felt like, yeah, I'm here now. Like, let's go. You put me with anybody. Let's do it. Was that one of them moments for you, like one of those self-fulfilling moments to know that, like, afterwards you was like, yeah, we did that?
100%, 1,000%, bro. Like, and the month of August was in itself a crazy little run. So before that, I wrestled Konosuke Takeshita for Progress.
I was gonna ask you about that too. Yeah,
that was another crazy one. Like, especially him coming like straight off wrestling like Moxley and Cesaro and like all them man in AEW. Like that was a crazy little 2-week run for me. And like I was saying earlier, it was extremely surreal to like look across from the ring and see the likes of Takeshita and Speedball standing across from you. It is a nerve-wracking feeling. But once we get going, they're just another wrestler wearing spandex, just like me. So I felt confident in both of those matches, but it was, both of them was very surreal.
And so going into the Takeshita one a little bit, like I think it was cool, like some of the stuff y'all did in that match. Like I think it was one spot where y'all like he had, like, y'all were on the top rope and you tried to like Spanish fly him, and he clotheslined you off the top rope and you did like a backflip. That shit was crazy. And then it was another one where like you did like this, I think it was, you had to hit like a drop kick, and you had got so high that it looked like it like even even on the frame by frame shot, it looked like you almost missed them, like because you got it, and like one of your feet was like over his head. I was like, bro, y'all are like, but I think y'all had like some good strike exchanges too. Like, but was that, like, I know you sort of touched on it a little bit, but like, was that another one of those matches that you look very fondly on?
1,000%. And that was kind of my first like big like import match, I guess we'll call it. Like that was before Speedball, before like a big 6-man tag that we had with Big Demo, who obviously has done a lot of stuff, New Japan, WWE, all this stuff. So that was kind of like my first big like test as far as wrestling goes. And the feedback I got from it was real good. And like, I'm glad people have enjoyed it online, and like the gifts have got out there and stuff. but that I was very nervous going into that, but I'm happy with how I performed. Like I look confident in there because I was, like I was saying earlier, like once that bell rings, he is just another guy in trunks. So yeah, that's a very another it's another very crazy one for me. It's just like it's another one on the bucket list, isn't it? Like people say, oh, you're a wrestler, what do you do? Yeah, I've wrestled Takeshita, I've wrestled Speedball, and like the list is gonna go on and on eventually. But he was definitely my first like big test in wrestling.
Is it? And I think it's real cool. Like when you go out there and have those sort of big matches against somebody like a Speedball or Takesha, and specifically on Mike Bailey's case, like you never know who from somebody. I know he's the current Impact X Division champion. Like you never know who from that side could be looking at Mike Bailey and be like, well, who's that guy that's wrestling? You know what I'm saying? Like you just legitimately never know who could be watching you. And like I think it's real cool to see you have these like stretch of matches, like these quote unquote not dream matches per se, but more so big time matches. I think is the proper term to call it. So I think it's real cool. But like the golden question, man, that I think everybody want to know: how does one person figure out how to do a Swanton 450 like that? Like that seems like something like you do like on a trampoline by accident, and then you just like, oh my goodness, like did I really just do that? How did you come to the realization that you knew you could pull this move off?
So it all started from training, and like I've always give myself a little pat on the back for this one. I've always had a 450, even from a young age, and I've been this is the thing, I've been drilling 450 since I was about 13 years old. So like I'm not a stranger to the motion of the 450. And obviously, as my body grew and I've become like more athletic, more explosive and stuff, I've been getting more and more height, more and more airtime and stuff like this. And eventually in training, I was like, let me just try to stick my head out a little bit. Let me give a little peek to let me give a little peek to the people at training while I do this. They started with the head. Then I was like, okay, that felt nice. Let me get a little arms going. Let me get a little arms. I got the arms and the head out at the same time. And then the last thing was the feet. And then the Swanton 450 was born. And it's only recently that I've busted it out on shows. For a while, it was a training move. But then I can't even remember the first time I busted it out on a show. But one time I was like, fuck it. And I just stuck the head out, stuck the arms out, fingers crossed, took my knees, and it blew up 180K views on Twitter and that.
Yeah,
it was crazy. It really was.
Hey, so like with a move like that, like how do you as a wrestler manage getting to the point where like you I'm pretty sure like you probably seen this just like watching wrestling throughout the years, but like there can be certain moves that are like associated with people and it begins to like overtake the wrestler if that makes sense. Like even with what's an example? Like Bianca Belair's hair whip. Like she has said that she has stopped doing it and she only does it like in big time matches because like it can become a thing where like people like, oh, you're gonna see Bianca Belair and she's gonna do the thing, and then it's like it's not special no more if she's doing it every night. Like how did you as a wrestler manage, because that is a special move that you're able to pull off. Like how do you as a wrestler manage like, you know, pulling that off, and then some matches maybe like maybe I'll hold off when it, like is there like a balance that you have to it, or is it just more so of a spur in the moment thing that you just like, you know what, let's do it?
So at the moment, I'm at a stage where I'm like, I'm hungry, and I'm, even though I've had all this success, there's still a long way to go for me. So at the moment, I'm just repping this thing out as much as I can. I'm trying to get as many views on Twitter. I'm trying to get as many gifts as possible, bro. But any time I'm debuting in a place or like on like a big show, like you said, I'm gonna whip it out for sure. Like, of course, there's sometimes to save it. And there's not opportunity to hit, and you don't need to hit it sometimes. But when it's a big stage or like a big game,
got to.
I need them Twitter views, brother. I need them Twitter views.
I feel you. But like, have you always like been like this athletic? Like, did you play like any type of sports or like gymnastics or anything like that growing up, or did you just start to notice like gradually over time that you could do these certain things and maneuver your body in certain ways?
To be honest, bro, like I've always been pretty athletic, and I've never been into any other sports apart from wrestling. So like we were saying earlier, maybe it is just literally growing up in wrestling and like growing up doing these movements and running the ropes and taking bumps and stuff like that. So maybe my body's just grown accustomed to it, and then the other side of me thinks I'm just blessed with these black genetics. That's what the other side of me thinks. But yeah, man, I've always been a pretty athletic kid, and then obviously as I've grown up, it's I've become more and more explosive and stuff like that, and now I'm at a point where it's really kind of eye popping.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. That's cool. And I know GCW had just came over for like the joint like mini tour with TNT Extreme. I know you were a part of that. I said I had seen a clip of you. I didn't get to see like the shows or anything, but I saw like some clips on social media. I think he was in the ring with Blake Christian. I know Nick Wayne was a part of that tour. That's a part of this like this circle of like teenage prodigies along with yourself. Like what was it like being a part of that TNT / GCW Extreme, that's it, Extreme. That TNT Extreme GCW joint shows. What was it like being a part of that?
That was real cool, man. And like I feel like that I'm a big believer in speaking things into existence, and I really do believe in this. And GCW is something that I've been speaking into existence like since I've started to blow. Like I spoke progress into existence, I've done that. I spoke Rev Pro into existence, I've done that. And the next goal on my list was GCW. And originally I wasn't even meant to be on the show. Now this is a little exclusive. Yeah, I wasn't even meant to be on that show. But unfortunately, Robbie X, I think he had an injury, it was double booked or something, and he had to pull out of the GCW show. And I was at the TNT show the day before to watch Reese and Matt Cardona to support my boys, obviously, and Dan Maloney, another one of my big brothers in this. He was dressing Nick Wayne. So I came down to support the boys, and obviously I met Brett. I met all the GCW guys, and Tony Deppen was actually the one that put the good word in for me because he'd seen me in Speedball at Rev Pro. So he was like, Brett, man, we got to get this guy on tomorrow. We got to get him on. And,
cool,
and very fortunately for me, the powers that be allowed it. And then I managed to get on the GCW show on a Friday. And I feel like I did a good job. I feel like I did an okay job.
Like, and especially like I saw some of the GCW like regulars, they was like throwing your name out there like on Twitter, like you mentioned Tony Deppen. I think I had seen somebody, I can't remember their name off the top right now, but I remember somebody else was tweeting about you too. Like it seemed like you built up like some good faith for yourself out there at them shows, man.
Yes, sir, man. Like, and those guys are so friendly, so it's not even hard to make good connections with those guys. But yeah, they're a real good bunch of people, and I appreciate especially Deppen for getting me on that show, and hopefully it leads to more stuff, maybe flying out to the US in the future and that.
Yeah, there we go. And you talk about like stuff that's coming up, man. I saw you got announced for the British J Cup coming up, man, for Rev Pro's British J Cup, the opportunity to become, I think, the youngest British J Cup winner on top of the second Black British J Cup winner, 2 accolades in one, man. Talk to me about like your excitement for the Rev Pro British J Cup, and like, I think it's only been like maybe 3 or 4 people that's been announced so far, so we don't know the full field, but like I'm pretty sure that has to be an exciting feeling to know that you're going to be a part of this tournament.
100%, man. Like the J Cup, like even just look at the heritage of the people that have won the J Cup previously. Like the first one, it was Thunder Liger, I think. Then it went to El Fantasma. Then I think it was
Michael Koo, yeah.
El Fantasma, sorry. And then obviously COVID, we had to take a year off, and then the previous one, a Speedball. So yeah, man, I've got a real good opportunity here, and I don't plan to fumble the bag. I plan to win it and become the J Cup winner ever, and like you said, the second Black winner ever. So yeah, I'm sure the tournament will be stacked. I think announced so far is obviously me. Robbie X is in that. That's another match I'd hope to get and I'd look forward to. And then Will Caven, I think, has been announced as well. So I think there's only 3 of us so far, but it's definitely going to be a stacked card for sure. And even Suzuki's on that show. Dan is wrestling Suzuki on that show, so that's going to be it's going to be a very special night for the boys if I manage to pull that off.
And like I had recently I saw an interview from Progress Wrestling co-owner Martin Best. He was like he got asked about like building up the next core of like wrestlers in terms of like bringing people in and having them part of that infrastructure, and you were one of the names that he mentioned in terms of like wanting to have you around on a consistent basis to be sort of the part of that the future of Progress in terms of like the infrastructure, the promotion and regulars and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure he's not the only one, but like how cool is it to know that there are promoters out there that like genuinely are looking forward to having you a part of their infrastructure and their promotion in terms of being a regular?
That is something that I take great pride in, to be honest with you, bro. Like if anything, that kind of means more than the matches themselves, just to know that people have trust in me to perform in these bigger situations. Like if it wasn't for people like Martin, then I wouldn't have wrestled the likes of Takeshita, and if it wasn't for the likes of people like Andy Corden, then I wouldn't have wrestled Speedball and had the opportunities that I've had so far. So it is something that I'm very proud to be held in a kind of high regard with the people in power. And I do appreciate the kind words they say about me, because they do well for me, to say the least.
That's it. And like sort of staying on the topic of progress, I think it was back in, I want to say March or May. I know you was a part of Roy Johnson's Everything Pattern show. Talk to me about, like, you know, and we talked about the representation earlier, but like talk to me about sort of the vibe there, you know, being amongst people of color, man, and how I'm pretty sure it was like a positive environment overall, and like one of those just happy-go-lucky type of shows, like where everybody's like, yeah, this is like some cool shit that we doing right now. Talk to me about, like, walk me through that experience, and, you know, reflect on it all these months later, now that we're in 5 or 6 months removed from it.
That another like real cool thing, man. And that was the thing that really gave me my break. So obviously the way this year's worked out for me is real crazy. It's been like a real spiral effect. So I debuted at North Wrestling with Reese, and I broke the light trying to do a 450, and that got some nice Twitter likes, like we were saying earlier. And from there, I got noticed, and I managed to get on Everything Patterned. And Everything Patterned is one of my favorite shows that I've ever been a part of. Just because, like you said, the vibes were good, like the music was good for once.
Yeah.
It wasn't none of that pop punk, and we had some good tunes on. Yeah, man, Everything Patterned was a great opportunity, and I appreciate what Roy Johnson does for the scene in terms of representation and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a great opportunity, and it definitely gave me that kind of foot in the door as far as British wrestling goes. I'm just gonna turn the main light on.
You good.
My bad, because I'm looking like I'm telling ghost stories. Bro, my bad. This is very unprofessional.
No, you good, man. It was funny. It was funny that you had just reminded me, because I had this is the first time I had interviewed Michael Oku. This was back in 2020, and this was before I had like a ring light and all that stuff. And like I had recorded it at night, and I had joked when I was like, bro, I look like a locked character right now. Like you couldn't see my face. It was like just blurred out. It was ridiculous, bro. But we
I can't be disappearing in my dark skin. You know what I mean? Got to keep the main light on. That's much better.
You had talked about something funny that you had just mentioned, like it was actually like good music on the show. Look, like the rock music, though, like it's cool. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. I ain't got no issue with it. Like it's not like for especially from watching wrestling, bro. Like I don't listen to it, but I can legit tell you what a good rock song sounds like through pro wrestling. That's just simply through pro. I could listen to something and I'd be like, but that ain't, you know what I'm saying? That's all right. But like it ain't me. So like so it's like it's cool though. Like you said, it ain't like something like it's like, oh, I can't listen to it, but it's all right, man. But like that was just something funny that you had mentioned. But like as we wrap up, Leon, like this sort of like a not like a loaded question, but more so like a reflective one. Like at everything that you've been able to do just in wrestling and in your life in general, from when you started from in pro wrestling to where you are right now, and you can sort of mix in the life stuff in between that time frame. Like, would you say that you happy with what you been able to accomplish so far?
100%, man. Like I'm very, very happy, and I'm proud of myself for what I've done so far in my career. But I'm never, I couldn't say I'm content, because I'm not. My goal in wrestling is to be the greatest of all time, and I believe I'm on a good track to be the greatest of all time at 17 now. So I'll never be content with wrestling, but at the moment I'm very, very, very happy with where my life is and where I'm at in wrestling right now for sure.
There you go. That's very cool to hear, man. But Leon, any social medias, your merchandise store link, whatever you got, man, please plug it in. I'm gonna make sure I put everything in the description of this video.
So I am official 0.01 on Instagram. I am official 0_01 on the Twitter, and it's official 001.bigcartel.com for the merchandise, and Leon Slater on YouTube, and that's all my socials.
There you go, my man. See, he got everything on lock. Boom, 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 boom. Just like they got that recognized, man. That's how you do it, man. That's how you do it, man. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm Andrew Thompson of the Andrew Thompson Interviews YouTube channel. Signing off with Leon Slater. We are out.
Yes, sir.